Today, we're diving into the Second World War, but maybe not the one you're used to hearing about. We're going to go past the big maps and the famous generals to find something I think a lot more real and way more powerful, the individual stories that really define the whole conflict.
So, let me ask you a question. When you hear the words World War II, what's the first image that pops into your head? Seriously, just take a second and picture it.
I'm willing to bet it's something kind of like this, right? A huge map of Europe, these big sweeping arrows showing armies on the move. It's the story we all learn, a story of grand strategies, big decisions, and massive battles. The 30,000-foot view.
And that view, it's important, but it misses so much. It is not the whole story. Honestly, it's not even close.
The real, gritty story of the war, it isn't in the strategy rooms. It's right here. It's in the faces of these individuals. It's in the personal choices, the fears, the hopes of millions and millions of people who were caught up in this thing. And to really get it, to truly understand it, we have to try and see it through their eyes.
So, for our first stop, let's go completely beyond the battlefield, to places where the war reshaped everyday life in some of the most profound ways imaginable.
Take the Warsaw Ghetto. There was a historian there named Emanuel Ringelblum, and he understood something crucial. History is usually written by the victors. So he started this secret project, the One Egg Shabbat Archive. He and a small group of others risked their lives every single day to collect diaries, letters, drawings, you name it. They buried it all in milk cans and metal boxes, just praying that someday the world would find it and know the truth. This wasn't just about saving documents. It was an act of pure defiance. And inside that archive, you find the story of Mary Wattenberg, who was just 15 years old. Her diary, it details the absolute daily horror of the ghetto, the starvation, the disease, the constant grinding fear. But then, she writes about attending a secret wedding. Just think about that. It's this incredible reminder that even in the absolute darkest of times, people fought to hold on to their humanity, to steal these tiny moments of normalcy and joy.
You know, the war wasn't just fought with guns and bombs. It was a battle for hearts and minds, especially when it came to an entire generation of young people.
And this slide just lays out that battle so starkly. On one side, you have young Germans in the Hitler Youth. They're literally swearing a personal oath of loyalty directly to Adolf Hitler. They were even given these daggers with blood and honor etched onto the blade. And on the other side of the coin, you have teenagers like Robert de la Rochefoucauld in France. At 17 years old, he decided to risk everything, torture, execution, the works, to join the resistance and fight against that exact ideology. Two teenagers, same war, living in completely opposite moral universes.
And this was the promise that fueled one side of that divide. Alfons Heck, who was once a member of the Hitler Youth, remembered Hitler telling a crowd of 80,000 kids this exact quote. Can you just imagine hearing that as a young, impressionable person, being told you're destined to rule the world? It's a terrifyingly effective way to shape a mind.
Okay, let's shift gears now to the home front, because what home meant during the war was radically different depending on where you happened to live.
This slide really says it all. On the left, that's London during the Blitz. For them, the home front was the front line. It meant huddling in shelters, enduring bombing raids night after night, and watching your city burn. Then you look to the right. That's the American home front. It was a place of incredible mobilization, of production on a scale nobody had ever seen before. It became a weapon all on its own.
Just how big was that weapon? Well, between 1941 and 1945, American factories churned out more than 300,000 aircraft. That number is it's staggering. It's almost impossible to get your head around. It represents millions of workers coming together to build this arsenal of democracy that could just overwhelm the enemy with sheer volume. And hey, even for those who were actually fighting on the traditional front lines, the experience of what combat actually felt like could be worlds apart.
So, let's take an American submariner in the Pacific. Their war was this incredibly claustrophobic, tense hunt inside a sealed metal tube. They'd be underwater for weeks, even months at a time, in these tight, cramped quarters where one tiny mistake, one wrong move could mean instant death for the entire crew.
Now, let's jump from deep under the ocean to miles up in the sky with the crew of a B-24 bomber over Europe. Their world was the total opposite, this vast, terrifyingly exposed sky. They'd fly for hours through these black clouds of anti-aircraft fire, what they called flak, just knowing that at any second an enemy fighter could appear out of nowhere. Both are combat, but they are two completely different realities of war.
And for some, the battle was fought on two fronts at the same time. The Tuskegee Airmen, a group of African-American pilots, were fighting the Axis powers in Europe, while at the same time battling this deep systemic racism back home and in their own military. They became legends, not just for being incredible pilots, but because they had to overcome the prejudice that said they couldn't or shouldn't be there in the first place. They proved everybody wrong.
So, when you put it all together, here's the point we're driving at. When we talk about World War II, we're really not talking about one single thing. We're talking about millions of different things all happening at once.
I mean, just in the last few minutes, we've seen the war through the eyes of a German boy who was promised he would rule the world, a Jewish teenager just trying to find a moment of humanity in a ghetto, a woman in London watching bombs fall in her own neighborhood, an American factory worker who is building the tools to win, a submariner hunting in the silent darkness, and a pilot fighting for his country and for his own dignity. Each one of them, they all fought a different war.
And that leaves us with one last thing to think about. We're so used to looking at history from a distance, right? As this big collection of dates and events. But when we zoom all the way in, when we focus on just a single, personal story, how does that change our entire understanding of the past? It's a powerful question.